Welcome to Bernina 880 Tooltips. Our topic today is directional sewing with Susan Fears.
Welcome everyone, and we're going to look at a technique or a tool or an icon, if you will, that's in our 880. That's a really fun icon to use, and I think it gets ignored a lot. One of the reasons could be because it is an icon that a lot of people don't even know what it is. So we're going to play around with it and just see what it is. And it happens to be the icon that I have with the yellow box around it. It is the multi-directional icon, and it allows you to take any type of stitch. Right now I had the straight stitch on the screen to sew in any direction. So if let's find a different stitch that maybe is a little bigger so we can see what it does. So let's look at one of our decorative stitches, stitch number 644. And if we select the information icon, because that is where all the goodies are, and select multi-directional, you'll see a compass, or you'll see little nodes around a compass, a 360-degree compass. And as you tap on each one of those nodes, you can watch the little motif swing around the screen. You also notice that as soon as you come out of the 180 direction, which is forward sewing, if you look at your presser foot selection icon, as soon as you take it to one of the directional sewing icons or degrees, it changes to foot 40C, which is your sideways motion foot, which comes with the machine. So I've just been tapping on each of these little nodes for changing the direction of the stitch. You also can change the number of degrees by 0.5 by using the plus or the minus. And you can use the multifunction knobs to change them in 1-degree increments. So you have lots of different ways to work or to alter or to get the stitch angle that you really, really want. Right now I'm working in single stitches, and I can make this stitch sew in any direction. Now if you look at the way the presser foot is oriented on the screen, you'll notice that the design is stitching out in this 144-degree direction. So your presser foot's facing you, your fabric is straight. So this is a way to apply a decorative stitch at an angle to your project without turning or angling the fabric. And that is the exciting part of multi-directional sewing. So we've had this with a regular stitch, but let's look at maybe a combination. So I'm going to go into our combi mode by touching the plus, and we're going to just start picking up a couple of stitches. So as I look and I scroll through, I'm going to pick up stitch 656, and I'm going to put in a second copy in here as well. If I go into the information icon, you see you have your multi-directional icon. Then we'll select stitch number 1, select multi-directional, and maybe I'm going to make it go off in the 135 direction, and on stitch number 2 I make it go off on the 225 direction. And you can get an idea for what this is going to look like. So we see how we're making kind of like a little chevron as we're stitching down our fabric. You can take a look at this one step further by going into Modify Screen. You're able to see the design a lot larger, but you can see what it's going to stitch out as its larger piece. So that's another way to use the multi-directional stitching icon. So again, the foot is doing all of the work, or the feed dogs are doing the work. You are still using foot 40C, and you are sewing directionally. Now what if you had a combination that you wanted to maybe stitch out directionally? So, unlike programming each of these little units. So if we go into our combi mode and we try to pick one of our stitches out, perhaps this one. So I have a combination that's been designed, and if I want to stitch this as a directional stitch, then we'll select the Select All, and here you have the multi-directional icon again. So in this method, I can change the angle of the entire combination all at one time. So you have a lot of different ways to work with multi-directional stitching. We've looked at a single stitch selected that you can sew off in a direction that you want. We have looked at individually altering the angle of a stitch within a combination. And now our third way of working with the stitching is to select a combination that was put in at the irregular stitching orientation and just angling it at the whole time. So this entire unit would stitch out to the side, and you could decide what you wanted to do at the end of this one piece. Do you only want to stitch one? Do you want to tell it you need two of these combinations? So all of those things you can add to a little bit later. So that is our multi-directional icon. It's a wonderful icon to use anytime that you want to sew directionally without angling the fabric. This is a perfect thing to use if you're on the leg of a pant, or you're in a maybe a purchase garment, or you decide to add some embellishment on something that you've made and you need to stitch at an angle because you're not able to angle the fabric. So this is a wonderful tool for those types of situations. So I hope that you will give the multi-directional stitching a shot, some creative time, because it is a very fun tool that can help you uh, get you out of situations where you need to stitch at an angle, or you just want to use it creatively for some fun. So enjoy multi-directional stitching, and thanks for joining us for our tool tip.